Well, there were some early signs of hope this morning that teachers and the BC government might actually agree on a new contract. Education Minister George Abbott got a standing ovation from nearly half of the teachers he spoke to at their annual convention. Given the history of toxic labor relations between the two sides, the gesture was a big deal. But that goodwill could soon give way to grumbling because in these talks, both sides are already miles apart. Our legislature reporter Shachi Kurl has the story.
We have a Minister of Education who, the day after he was appointed, phoned the President of the BCTF.
When was the last time you heard or saw this?
Join me in welcome Minister George Abbott.
That George Abbott was welcomed warmly by the BC Teachers Federation is remarkable. How long the love will last is questionable because the BC Liberals and the Teachers Union are about to start the difficult job of negotiating a new contract. Teachers want a raise. They won't say how much, but think double digits. The province is offering zero, and Abbott insists he won't budge because a raise for teachers will by law result in a raise for all public sector workers.
Whether any fruit can be born from those discussions is a good question. And, you know, you're probably right to be pessimistic.
Union President Susan Lambert insists the province will move, that the hard line is just a bargaining tactic.
You know, that's the function of the bargaining table. That's what negotiating is all about.
Negotiations often start with an attempt to find common ground, something Abbott looked to establish by sharing his roots as a former teacher and by talking about changes he'd like to make.
The early identification and remediation of barriers to learning, that, in my mind, is hugely important.
But will teachers have to trade off, sacrifice one priority for another?
You know, class size and composition, when I'm teaching, that's my main concern, right? Making sure that the class that I have is suitable and promotes learning for all the students in that classroom.
Over and above a wage increase?
I would say for myself.
But if history informs us, teachers may not have a choice. In 10 years under the BC Liberals, all but one contract has been imposed, the NDP forcing them into agreements in the 1990s as well.
I don't expect an answer today. That's homework.
Still, both sides are banking on the goodwill of their generals, who will be drawing on personality and a charm offensive in a battle that likely won't be all smiles when the deadline for a deal expires.
Shachi Kurl joins us now with more. Shachi, there's a new poll out tonight giving the BC Liberals a couple of things to smile about. Tell us about that.
Well, Hudson, it's an online poll from Angus Reid, and it puts the BC Liberals 5 points ahead of the NDP. And here's the surprise. We often think of Vancouver Island as new Democratic territory, but the Liberals are ahead here too. Same split, 43 to 38%. On the HST, the poll shows 54% of the people who responded would vote against it, while 33% would back the tax. And on the NDP in that leadership race, respondents put Mike Farnworth in the top spot for leader of that party. Adrian Dix coming in second place at 41%. Farnworth had 54%. About 900 people were surveyed, and the survey had a margin of error of about 3.5%. Hudson.
All right, Shachi Kurl, thank you.
You're welcome.